All right, welcome to today's Explainer, where we're diving headfirst into the brutally competitive modern mobile game market. We're going to unpack the definitive playbook you need for scaling in 2026. Look, if you're a developer or a marketer, you already know the old rules, they just don't apply anymore. It isn't just about making a great game, it's about navigating this incredibly complex ecosystem of discovery, acquisition, and retention. So, today we are breaking down the exact step by step strategies that top studios are using right now to not just survive, but totally thrive. Here is how we're breaking it all down today. 1. The rising cost of growth. 2. ASO as a 50% growth engine. 3. Visuals and custom pages. 4. AI user acquisition. 5. Retention is the new marketing. And finally, 6. The direct-to-consumer shift. Let's get right into it. Starting with Section 1, the rising cost of growth and the end of cheap installs, because the landscape has completely shifted beneath our feet. The core problem we're facing is pretty glaring. Global ad spend, it only ticked up a modest 3.8% year over year, but the actual cost to acquire a user, your UA cost, has literally skyrocketed by 12%. So what does that mean for us in plain English? It means more ads are burning through more money, all competing for the exact same pool of players. You're basically paying significantly more right now just to tread water. And honestly, this is hitting independent creators the absolute hardest. You can hear the frustration from this developer on Reddit who points out that the indie mobile space is just brutal. You need tens of thousands of dollars just to see the needle even twitch. What this tells us is that you simply can't optimize your way out of a scaling problem if you're relying purely on paid ads. The math just doesn't work anymore. We absolutely need a different approach.
That brings us to Section 2, ASO as the 50% growth engine. Mastering organic search is basically the foundation that makes everything else viable.
And the big takeaway here revolves around this massive 50% number. Optimizing your store ranking really is the absolute key to helping players find your games. When you use the right methods to improve that ranking, it can actually yield up to a 50% jump in organic growth in just 90 days. Because paid acquisition is so expensive right now, strong ASO is really the only way to lower your blended cost per install. Every single organic install you grab makes your overall marketing budget stretch that much further.
But you can't just use a one-size-fits-all strategy. You have to tailor your approach, because the difference between Apple and Google is huge. Apple relies heavily on this hidden 100-character keyword field, right? But Google doesn't even have one. Instead, Google indexes every single word in your long description. So if you're just copy-pasting your strategy for both platforms, you're leaving a massive amount of organic traffic on the table.
Let's move to Section 3, Visuals and Custom Pages. This is the ultimate battleground for converting browsing users in mere seconds. So the new meta in App Store conversion completely revolves around custom product pages, or CPPs. Apple recently doubled these, expanding from 35 to 70 slots per app. And here's the real game changer. They now rank organically in search. This means you can dynamically match a player's specific search fantasy with highly relevant screenshots. If someone searches for zombie survival, they get your zombie screenshots. If they search base building, they see your base building screens. It is incredibly powerful.
But to actually maximize this, you need a really rigorous testing framework. You always want to start by isolating your highest visibility asset first, which is the app icon. Once that's dialed in, move to your first screenshot, mostly because a huge chunk of users never even swipe past it. Only after that do you start testing screenshot sequences, copy, and videos. Testing in this exact order ensures you're optimizing for the biggest potential conversion swings right out of the gate. Moving on to Section 4, AI paid user acquisition. Now that we have a high-converting organic net, we can confidently pour in some paid traffic. The scale happening here is honestly mind-blowing. Top advertisers are shipping over 2,400 creatives every single quarter. Over half of the top 100 games are already using generative AI to pull this off. But here's the real secret. Because AI has pushed creative volume into the thousands for everyone, your competitive edge isn't just making more ads anymore. It's all about how quickly you can identify and replace the assets that have fatigued. Speed of replacement is literally the new volume. So when you're running these playable ads, how do you know what to fix? Well, you use the variable isolation method. It works like this. If no one is clicking, you fix your lead in video. If they click but drop off immediately, your difficulty curve is probably too frustrating. And if they play the whole ad but still don't download it, your call to action just isn't strong enough. By breaking your ads down into these 3 pieces, you can diagnose exactly where your funnel is leaking. Also, keep in mind that the whole industry is shifting away from cheap, empty installs. Meta's own models have proven that bidding for high-value users, optimizing for value rather than volume, generates a 29% higher return on ad spend. Think about it. You'd way rather have 10 users who spend $10 than 15 users who spend 1, right? Thankfully, AI prediction models are now smart enough to bid aggressively for those big spenders straight from day one. Which brings us seamlessly to Section 5. Retention is the new marketing. We need to look closely at the post-install funnel. We've seen a massive paradigm shift here. Google Play's ranking algorithm has fundamentally evolved. They're now prioritizing retention, meaning how many players stick around on day 1, day 7, and day 30, way ahead of just raw install volume. And the snowball effect is very real. If players install your game and immediately churn, Google is going to actively suppress your organic ranking, and it won't even matter how good your keywords are. That's exactly why the quality of your training data matters so much. Your goal is to find the whales, that tiny, roughly 2% sliver of players who drive the vast majority of your revenue. When you train your AI marketing systems purely on users who actually stick around and spend money, you create this incredible feedback loop. The AI just gets progressively better and better at hunting down those high-value whales right from their very first ad interaction. All right, let's head into our final topic, Section 6, the direct-to-consumer shift and how to bypass the app stores to own your distribution. The numbers here are just absolutely staggering. Just a few years back, in 2019, only 12% of the top grossing mobile games bothered running their own web stores. Today, in 2026, that number has completely exploded to 74%. The biggest publishers in the world are aggressively moving their players off the standard App Store platforms and bringing them directly onto their own websites to make their purchases. Now, obviously bypassing those hefty 30% App Store platform fees is a huge perk. But honestly, it's not the whole story. Running your own web store gives you the first-party data you need to offer personalized deals. And get this, 84% of repeat buyers say personalized offers actually shift their purchasing behavior far more than generic discounts do. So by going direct to consumer, you finally own the relationship, you own the data, and you fully control the monetization strategy. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Are you content forever renting your audience from unpredictable algorithms, or are you ready to actually own the player relationship? Will you just keep paying an ever-increasing premium for fleeting installs, or will you take this playbook and build a lasting ecosystem that you fully control? The blueprint is right here. The next move is entirely up to you.